My relationship with money was a hot mess. My finances were all over the place. That really shook my nervous system. I tried the budgeting tools, all the things, and none of it worked. I remember I woke up for that workshop at 4 a.m. and I listened and I was like, oh my God, this woman gets it. Because today I feel so much more relaxed and in coherence and in joy about money. Joining Relaxed Money was one of the best decisions I made in my life. Have you ever wanted to tell your money story, but felt like it was wrong or shameful or taboo? Well, let me be your way shower today and lead the way by telling mine. This episode is going to be real, it is going to be intimate, and it is going to be vulnerable because the doors to Relaxed Money opened today. And if you haven't heard me talk about Relaxed Money before, it is the signature flagship program of my personal financial coach and mentor, Kate Northrup. And so to celebrate her opening doors and enrollment to this program in today's episode, you're going to hear the behind the scenes of my personal money story after being part of Kate's community for 2 years running and to be continued for a long time from here. So enjoy this week's episode. Let's begin. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I'm obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. All right, so today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit special and, not quite exactly the typical resonance way with, because we're going to get real intimate. We're going to get real juicy and continue on our little taboo subject of money, where I really give you an intimate behind the scenes peek into my life. And you might be thinking, oh my God, what's in this for me? Well, storytelling has been for eons of time, an ancient way of teaching. And so as you hear me tell you my relaxed money story, I encourage you to listen out for what resonates and perhaps what doesn't as I share, because you might hear some similarities, you might hear some differences, it might bring up some light bulb moments and ahas for you as to how this relates to your own life. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that you'll hear a little bit of yourself in my story. Let this be a mirror for what is possible for you as well when you put a stake in the sand and you declare and decide to do something about it. And hopefully this episode will help you make the decision about whether or not relaxed money is the right next step for you. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so I'm going to speak to both the internal and the external as I share my story, because if you listen to last week's episode where we spoke about, the importance of aligning our internal and external world so that we are as efficient with our money as possible, this is also how I experienced my transformation inside of Relaxed Money myself. And so let's begin with the internal, because really that was the massive unlock for me. Before joining Relaxed Money, my relationship with money was a hot mess. I would avoid looking at my bank account like the plague. I would feel nauseous and drowsy anytime I would attempt to do something about it. And I still have this really vivid memory when I went through Kate's free 3-day workshop that hopefully some of you got a chance to attend. If not, the replays are still up, but just for a limited time. And so the first time I went through it, we had this homework that had us just do a super high level overview of our current financial position. And of course, it being the very first time that I ever did anything like this, that really shook my nervous system. I remember sitting there doing the homework and I felt tired. I felt nauseous. I couldn't think straight. It was wild. It was so cool in a way to witness what Kate was talking about in real time, because like, whoa, my nervous system is so freaking dysregulated with money. And honestly, like, no matter how much I was making, and I was making good money, I felt like I wasn't making enough all the time. Like it was never enough. This is this song like from The Greatest Showman or whatever. It's like never enough. And I don't know why we're singing on the podcast again, but that's how I felt. And I felt guilty about spending what I made. And I would always overspend. But we'll get to that in just a moment. And then no matter what I made, I had this deep belief that I didn't deserve it and that I will turn out like someone in my family who, just for the purposes, of privacy and speaking on this podcast, I don't want to name, but it was this deep belief that I will turn out like this person and lose everyone I love if I have money. And so you can probably imagine that, of course, if that was the wiring and the stories and the beliefs that were running through my system, then my external reality matched that, right? So what did that external reality look like? Well, again, before joining Relaxed Money, my finances were all over the place. Like I mentioned, I would rarely look at my bank account. Like I would see the money coming in and like I would scrape by because I was making good money, but I was also just like spending it just as quickly as it was coming in. So I was always just getting by, and like emphasis on just, when you speak about like people just making ends meet. Unconscious shopping was like one of my favorite pastimes. It was honest. I say this now, like I joke with my partner about this, but for those of us in the APAC region, or I think this is like worldwide now, but like Temu is quite a big thing where you can just get like really cheap things for, I don't know, it's a waste of money. It gets you to spend more on crap that you don't need. And I remember joking with my partner, I'm like, no, that's like my equivalent of taking an alcoholic to a bar. I'm not even downloading that app because I know that there was so much unconscious shopping and, overspending that was a default nervous system response because it made me feel good. And I actually had some like childhood experiences where some of the peak pleasure moments and the moments where I felt really connected and loved and like I had attention from my family involved shopping because, they loved dressing me up like a little doll. And so, of course, that was something then that I would unconsciously do when I was searching for soothing and feeling loved and whole. And so it got the worst that it got was after a pretty rough breakup where I watered down my savings, which around that time were about 50K, down to about 10K. I like just spent it all unconsciously. It was bad. And while I knew that something needed to change, I had no idea how, or like I kind of did. I knew I needed a system and I knew I needed to budget and like, be more conscious with my spending, but I just couldn't do it. I didn't know why, but obviously now, after having been through Relaxed Money, I know that it was because of the deep nervous system dysregulation and the beliefs that I held around money, which at the time I had no idea. And so it was so cool attending, the equivalent of the Good with Money workshop a few years ago for the first time, where like as Kate spoke about our nervous system patterning and how we feel and what's going on, I remember like I woke up for that workshop at 4 a.m. and I listened and I was like, oh my God, this woman gets it. She was the first person who spoke to me about money in plain English, not just in the way that I understood, but in a way that resonated with me on like an embodied level. And I finally realized that it wasn't just me, that there was nothing wrong with me, that there were reasons beyond my control or influence at the time that were, resulting in what I was seeing, but that I had the responsibility to shift those internal things. And so that is exactly what I did through Relaxed Money. As I joined and the way that she structures the Relaxed Money curriculum, it does begin with the internal first. And it was funny, like as I was preparing for this episode and reflecting on some of the things that I experienced beforehand, like even as I was just typing the beliefs and the things that I felt, I feel such dissonance with my current belief system that I could like feel it in my body. Because today I feel so much more relaxed and in coherence and in joy about money. And when the inevitable expansion and nervous system triggers come my way, because let's be real, we're all alive and we're having this human experience of growth and expansion, and that comes with, a bit of our feathers being ruffled. I welcome them as a sign of my next evolution. And I truly believe it in the depth of my being, in my bones, that there are more than enough resources on planet Earth for everyone to have a good life. And that through attracting more wealth and abundance into my life, I get to make a bigger positive impact in other people's lives and the world at large. Like where previously I used to have shame about money, now I'm like, you know what? Like the more I make, the more of a positive influence I can make in the world. Like the more people I can bring onto my team who get to also do life-changing work and like help make the world a better place. Do you know how happy it makes me to like have our little team connects with my amazing VA who I'm so incredibly grateful for, and just to like see the joy that both of us have in making a difference in the world? And do you know how like incredibly rewarding it is to be able to reach more people who need the work that I do, so that they can then in turn live their best life and ripple that out into the world around them? Like this stuff is exponential. And so now I just realize like literally the more resources I have access to, the more of a positive impact I get to make on the world at large. And it doesn't end with the internal shifts though, because, it's like, okay, but tell me about the results. Tell me about the 3D reality. So let me give you some numbers. And this is wild. This is all true. This is all like legit from my little financial hub tracker that I look at every week. Okay. And this is a little bit vulnerable, but here we go. That's what I promised you, because again, I want you to see that if it's possible for me, it is also possible for you. So in my first year in Relaxed Money, I increased my cash flow by over 200% after only 5 months of consciously paying attention to my finances. And as it stands today, while that cash flow percentage change is slightly lower, even though, don't get me wrong, a 95% increase is pretty freaking awesome, I have so many wins. And I will also add that I feel so aligned with where that cash flow is at, because I made conscious, values-aligned investments into my business that resulted in where I am today. And I wouldn't be here speaking to you if I hadn't made some of those investments. So I stand by them 100%. Some of the additional like 3D and external shifts that I have regular weekly money love dates, which are, when you join Relaxed Money, you'll learn a little bit more about this, but it is like the container that you set to consciously pay attention and take action on your money management. And it is so cool. It is so fun. Like having tracked this for pretty much 2+ years now, and seeing the growth and seeing the wins and seeing the trajectory that I'm on, it is amazing. And not only do I do this, I also have monthly deep dives where I focus on bigger projects, like setting up, like improving my systems or researching investments. Or right now we're in this really exciting new unfamiliar territory that's expanding my nervous system capacity, which is like house sale project planning. What even? There is no way that I would even have had the capacity to like think about this before joining Relaxed Money. And what I also did is I finally separated my personal from my business finances with separate accounts and separate spending plans and special tracking plans. And right now I'm in the process of building out a simple and elegant reporting system as we speak. And I kid you not, it feels so good to like open my banking app and know that I've got like my wants account and my needs account, and that one's got its own credit card, and that one's got that one, and then you've got the business and that. And it's just all so satisfying and sexy, and I love it. The wins continue. I told you I'm going to nerd out on all the numbers. So I also started building my investment portfolio, which is so cool because it's something that I would have like never, it just felt so foreign to me. It felt so weird. Like, and even just signing up for like my company super was this whole like big breakthrough process. So this is even beyond this, and including investing in things like shares, etc. And my investment portfolio has grown by 55% since October 2024. Now, at the time of the recording of this episode, it is March of 2026. That is not a long time. Imagine how much that's going to compound over the years. Like, that is wild. And I attracted a 5-figure personal loan with 0 interest or fixed due date to support some of the conscious investments that I'm making in my business. I have magnetized not 1, not 2, but 4 trips overseas to also, again, help support the growth of my business. I finally set up my high yield savings account, which, by the way, you get access to when you join Relaxed Money, which you can't get access to otherwise. And again, details, schmeetails, but more on that when you join. So if you're like, I've got questions about this, I'll talk to you about it. I'm like, Viktoria, don't get sidetracked. But I finally set up my high yield savings account here in New Zealand and begun regular contribution to it from my cash cushion, recently allocating 50% of my bonus straight to that account. So investing in future me first, where previously I would have just spent this on something, whatever, as surprise money. And in addition to this, I have finally felt safe enough to initiate the biggest financial project of my life with regards to selling a property and also becoming a lot of money moving, all these things. Like, this is my current edge of expansion at the moment. And it required me to have some really challenging conversations internally with, my loved ones and move through some of my family money stuff. And that has just been like such a huge win for me and such a nervous system expander. And the way I approached this and the tools I had in Relaxed Money were honestly like such a massive unlock. And another one that's like quite recent that's just come to mind, I didn't write this down, but just off the cuff, like at the recording of this video, I have just closed doors to inviting in the founding members for my brand new program, which is called Efficiency Made Easy. And one of the ways in which I wanted to expand my reach and get the word out to more people was through investing in advertising. It's something I've never done before. Or like when I dabbled in it, it was, not strategic. It was terrible. And like I spent 5 figures on ads. And don't get me wrong, even though this launch specifically didn't have a profitable ROI, like I am so in alignment and so calm and grounded in that. Like, yeah, my business is not profitable yet. I will admit that as well. And yet I know, because I can clearly see the metrics and the growth that is leading to this eventually. And I have a timeline and I have specific numbers and KPIs in place that help me track progress towards this, because you cannot grow what you cannot measure. And in order to measure it, you need to be able to be in alignment, be in resonance, have your internal reality be aligned with this paradigm so that your external systems can mirror it as well. And lastly, just overall, I am so much more literate about money and wealth than ever before. And I can easily talk to my partner about it. Like, it was so cool. We had this conversation, as we were like talking about some of our money stuff, and about like, distributing funds and what to do with the money. And it was so cute because on one side, like there are still things that I'm learning about, right? Like, it evades me, but there's like a specific loan structure that banks have that he was explaining to me. And then we were talking about, where to allocate money. And I was giving him the rationale behind my thinking as to what I want to do when we sell this property. And he was like, oh, look at you talking about liquidity and cash flow when you didn't even know what this thing was. And I was like, yeah, because I'm constantly growing. Like, I am putting my conscious attention and awareness on this. And it is paying off in dividends, not just in like physical cash and growth, but also just the internal literacy and consciousness and ability to speak and make decisions about it, which is freaking awesome. And on a side note, this also rippled out into my partner's life, which is so exciting. It is so special. Like in the last year, I think alone, just me talking about investments and all these things, it inspired him to begin to invest in shares and really like actively, he trades actively, like he's really into all the detail. I'm more of a managed fund kind of girl, but like he started to get really into the nitty gritty and, so excited about our future and the big decisions that we're making. And he's also actually really invested and supportive in my business. And like, we're talking about my KPIs and like I'm showing him the numbers and we're having these incredible conversations, which like if any of you listening right now have a loved one and a partner, like what are your conversations around money like? Because money is actually the number one reason for divorce. And a lot of couples' conversations about money end up, unfortunately, in a fight. And while thankfully we never were in that place to begin with, it's sort of, we've gone from neutral to like thriving. And so, this is just a little bit of a taster, I guess, of my story. This is just like the headlines. Obviously, I could go on and on about this for days. It is also very private and vulnerable. So, it feels quite, it feels like quite a lot to just be putting this out there into the public. But if right now you're thinking, well, that's nice for you, Vic, but my situation's different. Yeah, exactly. We're all different. We all come with our own stories and baggage and experience and circumstances, etc. And like, trust me when I say this, Kate has helped thousands of people through this. And I hands down would not have been able to achieve all of the things that I've just shared with you without her help and guidance. And I tried it all before. I tried the budgeting tools, the rich dad, poor dad, all the things, and none of it worked because I didn't realize the depth of the nervous system wiring, thoughts and beliefs, and unprocessed emotions that were secretly running the show. And so my invitation to you would just be to start to reflect on your own experience. Where are you right now in your money journey? And if there's one thing you take away from this episode, is let it be this. Joining Relaxed Money was one of the best decisions I made in my life. And I still vividly remember that moment. I was sitting in my room. We were in our old place. I had just come off a coaching call. I was with a high touch client. It was like a high ticket mentorship, and this was already after I had gone through the 3-part free live training series that Kate offers, and the doors to Relaxed Money were about to close. And I remember sitting there in front of my laptop and I'm just seeing the clock count down, and I'm reading her sales page and all the money back guarantee and the modules and the investment. And it's a reasonable investment, right? Like if you've already looked at the sales page, you're like, okay, this is a healthy sum. And it was just like this out of body experience. I just kept hearing Kate's voice in my head over and over again, saying that if what you've been doing so far would have worked, it would have worked by now. And she also said something else, which was, if you're not going to do this, then what is it that you're going to do? And I just knew from the moment I met her, she was my person. And deciding to join that program, I kid you not, obviously it unlocked everything that I've just shared with you. But then the synchronicities, and I will touch on this because like, just tune inwards and trust for yourself that your decision is going to be guided by your intuition. Because after joining Relaxed Money, she introduced me to the person who now is my business coach and mentor. And without him, we wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation. You would not be listening to this podcast if I had not met this person. Through that, I met other incredible people. I met someone who was my muse, who helped me connect the dots that I was missing to connect to bring efficiency made easy to life. There's all these little synchronicities and all these connections that actually all lead back to one of these biggest life-changing moments of my life. And if this hasn't sold you on Relaxed Money yet, to tempt you just a little bit more, a little creme de la creme cherry on top, is obviously I am an affiliate of Kate's through the Relaxed Money program. Now, I only affiliate for things that I truly deeply believe in, that I have gone through myself. And, what that means is that if you choose to join, or when you choose to join, then I will get a percentage commission on you joining. And in return for that, I want to gift you some special bonuses that you will get only if you sign up using my link. Now, those bonuses are in the show notes below, and when you're on my email list or on my socials, you'll see me talking all about them. I don't want to disclose them on this episode just now because at the recording of this episode, the details are still being refined, but trust me when I say this, you can't get this anywhere else, and you definitely don't want to miss out. So your next step from here is just click the link below, head on to the Relaxed Money sales page, have a read through. If you've got any questions about my experience, about the program, let me know, but don't wait too long because doors close Thursday, April 23rd, US time. It is the place to be. When you're going to be there, I'm going to be there. So we're going to be in the same community as well. I'll see you on the coaching calls and the live calls, and I honestly cannot wait. So without further ado, click the link in the show notes below. Thank you so much for listening to my Relaxed Money story. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, bye for now. Okay, if you have been following along for the last few weeks, you will know that recently my financial coach and mentor, Kate Northrup, has just hosted her free 3-day workshop called Good with Money. Now, if you didn't get a chance to join live, make sure you jump in and consume the replays as soon as possible. I believe they are coming down this week. And more importantly, this week is the week where Kate opens enrollment for her signature flagship program, Relaxed Money. And if this episode didn't already give you enough reasons to believe, I'll give you a little overview of what to expect inside Relaxed Money. So it is designed as 13 money love dates to upgrade your financial life in one season. And this experience is going to strengthen both the internal and structural architecture that lets your money feel steady, supported, and well stewarded. So it's not about hustling for more. It is not about pushing or working harder or trying to make more money, which is like what so many of us have been conditioned into. It is about building the internal safety and financial infrastructure that actually allows money and income to feel safe, sustainable, and steady. And so this is exactly what Kate addresses inside this program. She addresses the internal capacity, like your default response to money, the anxiety, the what if it all goes away and it disappears, your ability to receive, hold, retain, and direct this wealth. And then of course she also addresses the external architecture, which is simple, elegant, and aligned financial frameworks, systems, and structures for earning, saving, spending, debt repayments, investing, long-term wealth building. I mean, you name it, she's got it. And this work is specifically for ambitious, high performers, high capacity humans just like yourselves who look successful on the outside, but might be scrambling around with money in private, behind closed doors. Perhaps you're already earning well, or you have been, but you've recently had a change to your circumstances. Or maybe you're on your way to like your next income threshold, but you're ready for money to feel different, for it to feel steady, to feel calm, and to feel supported. Because income only rises to the level of your system's ability to handle your income. And when your system upgrades, both internally and externally, so does your capacity for true wealth, abundance, and prosperity. And hey, we all deserve that and so much more. So if you too are ready to transform your relationship with money and build the internal and external architecture that will help you steward your wealth like the amazing, abundant, productive, efficient money magnet that you are, then make sure that you join Relaxed Money. The link is in the show notes just below this video. And when you join through my special link and my link only, you also get access to exclusive limited bonuses that some of them you cannot get anywhere else, like literally unavailable unless you join Relaxed Money through my affiliate link. So just To be sure, make sure you click the link below this video or below this podcast episode in the show notes as you make your decision to transform your money reality. And when you choose to join, I can't wait to see you in the community because I am part of it too. And I am so excited for those of you who decide to join us as well. All right, that's all from me for now. Join Relaxed Money. Don't wait too long. Doors are only open for these short couple of days and they only open once a year. So now is the time to decide. All right, thanks so much. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.